All right, people, what's up? Welcome to another walking vlog, discussion 101. And this one is going to be a very interesting subject. I'm walking right now. I got my Alkalines sea moss smoothie. It's sea moss gold. It was bought by this. I bought it from this company called Black and Noble. This is their Irish sea moss gold mixed with alkaline water. Mixed with alkaline water, lime, and burdock root. And I mixed it in with some beet powder, like them super beets. Helps with nitrous oxide to get the blood circulating, get all the nutrients throughout the body. Also mixed it with this antioxidant fruit powder that got dried goji berries in it, dried dragon fruit, etc. Various dry fruits, good for antioxidants. 4 moringa seeds. If you don't know what moringa is, that's literally one of the healthiest things you can eat. It helps with so much. And apple juice and pineapple juice and orange juice. Simply's is the best juice there is. But in this video, I want to talk about Dr. Dre's wife and the settlement that they came to for his divorce. And I kind of want to tie that into the subject of forever punishment. So give me a second. He's talking. But so apparently, it was an article that was posted today about Dr. Dre's divorce with his estranged ex-wife. And how they were coming to a settlement. This kind of started last year when I guess the divorce kind of went public, but they finally came to, I guess, like a settlement for the divorce. And basically, I don't know if they came with a settlement, but the article headline, it was like she is asking for like $2 million a month. Now, my thing is this, right? There's a very big double standard when it comes to men divorcing rich women that they were married to and asking for that amount of money, and women asking for a large amount of money from rich men, right? And when I hear this, and I see the backlash you're getting from it, from various people, I see, I'm reminded of, I think it was Halle Berry who had got divorced, and her husband asked for like a large sum of money a month or some crazy number, and there was like a huge backlash towards him. I doubt he read any of those posts, by the way, but it was a huge backlash because of that. And a lot of people were calling him, a bum that didn't want to work, or a person who just didn't want to, earn his own keep. You're a man, you're supposed to do this, that, and the third. When does this stop being looked at from the stance of a double standard and start being looked at as a stance from we're grown adults? We should be able to take care of ourselves by this point. We shouldn't be so dependent on other people. Now, the way these divorces work, or rather the way they should work, let me not say the way they work, but the way that they should work is that if I'm with you, right? So let's say me and this woman are together, right? And I'll put myself in that position of being the one that gets divorced, right? For whatever the reason may be. If I put myself in that position of, gaining all this wealth, well, I wouldn't say put myself, but if I get in the position of putting myself in all this wealth and I earned millions of dollars while I was with you and you helped with those business ventures, then, because you were a part of the business, I have to split that money with you. You know what I mean? Because you were there helping. And depending on how much you helped aid in this business's growth to the point where it could be a multi-million-dollar business or a billion-dollar business or whatever, then you need to be compensated for that. However, if you did not help me in any sort of way, then you don't get nothing because you did not help with the growth of this business. There's no trophy just for being somebody's fucking spouse. There's no trophy. There's no trophy for you just being somebody's husband and wife. And if you want to leave that situation, then leave it. Why is there this forever punishment, which is going to tie into what I mean, when it comes to guys getting divorced from women who don't want to be with them no more? You're the one that decided, like, regardless of what the fuck, like, there's some women out there who understand. This is Dr. Dre. And I'm going to tie this into something else. Dr. Dre, prior to being famous with NWA, probably wasn't getting a lot of, girls or whatever. When he got with NWA and they got famous and all that, of course, people still young and all that, so they gonna be with multiple women. And of course, I don't know the man's personal life. This is just me speculating. He supposedly had like 7 other mistresses, which is supposed to be her reason for wanting to divorce him. But my thing is this: if that's the reason, I sound so country. But if that's the reason why you want to get a divorce from Dr. Dre, why the fuck did this man have to pay you $2 million a month? And then to see the flood of women supporting this bullshit, when Halle Berry husband, or whoever the hell it was, I believe it was Halle Berry, when Halle Berry husband asked for what I believe is what they call alimony. Forgive me if I got it wrong, because I've never been married before, but I believe they call it alimony, the money that you get paid after a divorce. Y'all were on this dude's ass. These same type of women were on this dude's ass, but when it's a woman involved in getting paid, I kind of compare it to, this is a perfect analogy. I kind of compare it to when a black man dates a white woman, how all these black women start talking about how the black dude is a sellout and all that, but the moment a black woman gets a white woman, y'all sitting there, y'all applauding the black woman for getting a white dude. Like, the double standards is ridiculous. Like, when do we stop looking at it from a man or a woman perspective and start looking at it from a grown adult perspective? We grown. At the end of the day, you're not, like, when was the last time we heard about Dr. Dre's wife doing anything other than being Dr. Dre's wife? On some real shit, like, was she a model? Because I don't know. Like, was she a model? Was she owning like a business or something like that? Did she, you know what I'm saying? Or was she just traveling the world on his dime while he did all the hard work? Like, because we don't know. Because as far as we're concerned in the public eye, she ain't nothing more than a trophy wife. She was just there to make, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, why do you feel like you need $2 million of this man's hard-earned money? Because he did all those business ventures. He the one that built up Beats by Dre. He the one who sold it for like, what, over $1 billion to Apple or some shit like that. You know, he the one that became wealthy. You didn't help with that. At least that's not what no reports came out saying that she did. And with that being said, if she didn't, the nerve of you to ask for that amount of money. Because you didn't help contribute to this at all. All you were was his wife. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. We're gonna call it what it is. And this kind of ties into what I mean forever punishment. Why is it that people feel like, taking into consideration he cheated on her or whatever, who's to say she didn't do, because we don't know what the fuck she did. We don't know what the hell she did. Maybe she cheated on him or some shit like that. And that caused him to, because we don't know. Again, but we got to go off of what we know. And he cheated on her. So that's what we're going to stick with. But just to put that in your mind, like, what if she cheated on him and he was like, fuck this, I'm the one with all the damn money. I should be the one going out doing all of, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, when do we stop this forever punishment mentality when it comes to people who done already paid their debt to society? Like, on some real shit. Like, when do we stop putting people in this bubble as if they can't better themselves and be a part of, live a normal life again? Because they're already going to be haunted with the memories of what they did for forever. Anytime they tell a story involving them going to jail for whatever, they got to follow it up with what they actually did. Or at the very least, they know exactly what the fuck they did. And they gotta, they have to live with that, regardless if they tell anybody or not. They know what they did. So the point I'm making is, anyway, like, the point I'm making is, there's gonna be a minute before I can cross the street. When do we stop this forever punishment BS? Because eventually it got to get to the point where people mature and realize that you can't stay mad at somebody forever. And I do mean that. Now, being mad doesn't mean that you're angry necessarily. It means that, you are holding this grudge against somebody for a lengthy period of time, and at the end of the day, all it's doing is giving your ass wrinkles. See, one thing I learned growing up, like, I'm 32 now. Again, I always say my age because I want you guys to understand my experience and the shit that I went through. I lived a pretty solid life. It wasn't the best life, but it wasn't the worst life either. Never been to jail, never, did anything to really get me in jail outside of whoever may personally feel like that. You know what I'm saying? I lived a solid life. But I also been on both sides of the coin where I had to be one of those people that had to ask for forgiveness, as well as a person that had to learn how to give forgiveness. And a lot of us don't know. The first time we deal with forgiving, it's oftentimes the first time we deal with that is that we're the ones asking for it. We don't know how to give it until we're in a position to where we're, victimized. Or we were the family of a victim of some heinous act or something like that that you would have to give forgiveness for. And it comes a level of maturity with that. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. Not true, but I'm gonna tell y'all a little story just so you to get an idea of what I mean. Let's say it was somebody, right? And this guy or woman or whatever, however you want to put it in your head, because I know people are objective when it comes to certain situations, who's capable of doing those type of things. Let's say somebody was going outside and they were just beating up people. Not because they were mentally ill, not because of whatever the problem is, because they just wanted to go outside and just beat up on people. And let's say, for whatever reason they were like that, you know what I'm saying, they were just beating up on people. They were doing things to people for whatever reason, that that they felt like they could do. Now, let's say later on down the line, this person has an epiphany and finally realizes, damn, why was I doing this dumb shit? It comes off as like an awakening of sorts. The people who were victims of that person getting beat up eventually is going to have to get to the point where they realize that they're not thinking in the same manner that they was when they were doing those acts. And they got to realize, now you may never want that person around you, a case like that, but you have to be mature enough to understand, and it hurts. It hurts. Being somebody who was on the side of those type of situations, it hurts. Knowing that you got to forgive somebody that did something crazy to you. I'm not saying this situation that I'm talking about never happened to me. I'm just saying. I've been in those type of shoes before where you have to forgive somebody, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, especially when based on what they did. Not everything is easily forgiven, because really what you want to make sure is when you forgive this person, they're not just trying to trick you so that they can mess with you again. Ultimately, when somebody forgives somebody, it's supposed to go like this. And I know I kind of skipped out on the story, but I'm getting to the point because I got to get to work. If you do something to me, right? And let's say later on down the line, I see you again, and I see you acting in the same manner that caused you to do me wrong that first time, that lets me know that I don't need to be around you and I don't need to trust you and you don't deserve my forgiveness. At the end of the day, you ain't earned it. But if I see somebody that did me wrong at one point in time, and I see that you done changed your life around and you're no longer moving in the same pattern, and I see that you're not thinking in the same manner as that time when you did me wrong, then I have to forgive you at that point. Like, I have to forgive you, because I'm holding on to a version of you that basically no longer exists. I'm basically holding on to a version of you that no longer exists, and all I'm doing is I'm keeping this pent-up frustration. Everything all right? This woman just stopped in her vehicle, like her car just stopped. She moving again. I don't know, she must have dropped something. But if I'm seeing that you're not thinking in that same manner, I have to forgive you. And oftentimes, like I said, the only time we deal with forgiveness is when we're asking for it, not when we have to give it. We don't understand the importance of having to give forgiveness for anything. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody did something wrong and they ended up in jail towards you, that person probably went and got reformed in prison or whatever like that, and say, man, I'm never going to pick up a gun. I'm never going to shoot nobody ever again. And they come out and they don't touch a gun. Instead, they work on gun violence prevention, nonprofit organizations or whatever the case may be. And they start, they stop a lot of bullshit from happening in the neighborhood. Why are you still treating them or going towards them as if they just did this shit yesterday? You have to be wise enough. Don't let your emotions control you, because that's how a lot of people end up in a fucked up position that they shouldn't be in. Check your emotions. You have to forgive people. It's mandatory. I know this world is, the lines are very blurred between reality and illusion, good and bad, and what have you. But you have options and mandatory, but you have to understand what's mandatory and what's really optional. You know what I mean? A lot of things that we think are optional are actually mandatory, and a lot of things that we think are mandatory are actually optional. Because this world itself is confused, and it's confusing the next generation on how to act. So, we got to be hip to that. So a lot of us have to, you know what I'm saying, be willing to understand that and make a move based on that. Otherwise, all we're doing is just holding on to a grudge that basically no longer exists. Or rather, we're holding on to a grudge towards a person that no longer exists. You may see the individual, but they're not thinking in the same manner, so they're not, you know what I'm saying, they done got rid of that side of themselves, so why are you still treating them like they're that same person? So, and it all goes back to the, the divorce between Dre and his wife. So I'm feeling like, well, not that I'm feeling like it's what it actually is. If, something else happened there, because everything's not being, told. So, regardless of what it is, because the way I'm thinking about it, and this isn't me being biased or nothing, what if she did something to him and he said, you know what, I want a divorce because of that. I forgive you, but clearly this ain't gonna work out. And then all based off of that, she want to ask for $2 million. Like, think about that type of shit. But just something for your mind, man. These discussions are always good. I'm at work right now, so I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Remember, be humble in victory, be gracious in defeat, but show no mercy in battle. World Warriors Collective.